Maryland PTAC podcast, Assist and Win, where we showcase client success stories and feature procurement experts to help small business owners. I'm your host, Yasmin Razaq, and I'm the Marketing and Training Coordinator here at the PTAC. Today's guest is Mr. Raffi Bilek of the Baltimore Therapy Center. Thank you for joining us today, Raffi.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I know you won your first government contract last year with Montgomery County. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. The county needs to provide services to domestic violence offenders, therapeutic services, and that is something in which I have a good deal of history and experience. I actually was working on a former contract for Montgomery County under someone else, and when that contractor left, there was a void. And so I was able to step in and fill that void, with the help of PTAC getting set up for that.
Okay, well, that's great work that you're doing there. So could you tell us a little bit about your career background?
Sure. I'm a social worker by training, and I now have my own practice called the Baltimore Therapy Center. Me personally, I have gravitated towards working with relationships, families, couples, things like that. And I did a lot of training and education earlier on in my career around domestic violence, just because that's something that really interests me and I really like to help with. And so this was a job that came up when I moved to Maryland around the same time I started this business. And now the two have kind of dovetailed where I have been able to take on this contract and keep doing these services under the rubric of my own business.
I had a look at your website and you offer all kinds of therapy. Could you tell us a little bit about the other types of therapy that you offer as well?
Sure, yeah. We have a staff with a bunch of different specializations. So we work with individuals, couples, families, groups. One of the really popular things we're doing now is anger management. A lot of people struggle with that and are calling for help with that, or they're court ordered. We can help them there as well. We do parenting education. Like I said, I myself do a lot of marriage counseling. That's really what I love to do. So I work with couples. I also work with family struggles and stuff. And then, whatever people need help with, we have folks working with anxiety and depression or trauma, whatever comes through the door, we're happy to help. And if there's ever something that needs a specialization we don't have, then, we have a referral network where we connect people as needed.
Well, that's a great service. And I know particularly in recent times with the pandemic and the growing awareness of mental health issues, that is a much needed service. Now, obviously, you've come a long journey to get to where you are now. Could you talk about some of the career challenges that you've overcome?
Sure. I mean, like I said, I'm a social worker by training. I am not a business person or an entrepreneur. I find myself in this position purely by happenstance. I never really saw myself owning a business or running a business. I just like helping people, and I like doing therapy and couples counseling. And I just went, and when I moved to Baltimore some years ago, I decided I was going to just start my own little shop where I'd provide therapy to people. And now it's kind of grown to where I'm managing employees and dealing with all kinds of things that I never really had thought about. And so it's been a real challenge just kind of understanding the ropes. There's a lot of legal stuff, a lot of accounting stuff that I had no idea, and I'm learning on the fly. And a lot of it is just not knowing what I don't know. So, I find out from time to time, like, oh, I should have been doing this, or, oh, I need to be aware of that. And that has been, harrowing sometimes. It's a challenge to pick up this kind of business approach when I don't really have that in my background at all.
Okay, so you've been on a steep learning curve for you to have not only started up a business, not having had business experience, and then to go ahead and win a government contract is a huge achievement. So well done on that, which leads me to my next question. How did you find out about the PTAC?
That is a great question. I can't remember off the top of my head. I probably was Googling for some kind of help or support or something, and it probably came up. And I read a lot of websites and tried to find what I could find. And I remember sort of looking at the website and saying, wait a second, these people could help me.
So I'm glad you found us. And you have been working and continue to work with Arthenia LeFlore, who is one of our counselors. For businesses people listening to this, and have no idea what to expect when they have a meeting with a procurement counselor. Can you tell us a little bit about your meetings with her and how she helped guide you?
Yeah, I mean, I just showed her the request for proposals, and it was really nice that she knew what she was looking at, because I really didn't. And to have someone with experience and familiarity be able to point out what it was and, point out some things like, hey, you need to think about this, you need to be aware of that. And to, be able to guide me a little bit and help me know what I need to know, that was really reassuring. Apart from the fact that she was able to connect with people and make referrals to different kinds of professionals I might need, but just having someone who knew what the ropes were and could point me in the right direction was good, because I was kind of floundering.
Oh, that's good. There's nothing like getting a lifeline when you really need it. So I'm glad we were able to help you. Why would you recommend that small businesses who want to get into government contracting use the PTAC?
If you've never done it before, having someone to point the way and having someone who knows what's needed is really helpful rather than trying to figure it out on your own. And I imagine that even if you have done it before, having the support of having someone look over your papers and look over your forms and just be able to know what's going on and provide that extra support, I'm sure that's valuable for those folks as well.
And where do you see the Baltimore Therapy Center going in the future? What are your goals for the business?
It's funny, like, again, I just don't think of myself as a businessman. I guess I hope to keep growing it. I like to, bring in more patients, more clients, and grow the business. I don't want to get out of touch with what I do, which is doing the counseling. The more that we grow, the more that I've got to work on the business instead of in the business, and that's fine. That's important, and it's good. It provides more time and more income without having to spend the hours in the sessions. But I also don't want to lose that. So, I envision myself sort of growing to a certain point and maybe not beyond that, so I don't have to leave the front lines.
Well, that's great to keep that nice balance. That's really important. Now, before we wrap up, what words of wisdom or any advice or a tip that you have for other business owners?
Yeah, definitely good to connect with people at PTAC and also to find some professionals that you really like, whether it's people that you got referred to from PTAC or somewhere else. Having an accountant that you feel you can work with well, and an attorney and whatever else you need. I have found that it's been difficult at times to find the right people, but once I found the right people, it's been really helpful to be able to call them up, send an email, and get some answers. So finding the right people, I think, is a good way to go.
Yeah, it's great to have a good team around you, good team of experts. Okay, and our final question is, how can we find out more information about the Baltimore Therapy Center?
I'm glad you asked. It's very easy. You go to baltimoretherapycenter.com, and there's plenty of information there. People can always reach out to me for any questions they have about any of this business stuff that I may be able to shed some light on, or people who need counseling. We're always there to help. So feel free to check us out and reach out.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for spending time with us today, Raffi, and we wish you the best with the Baltimore Therapy Center.
Thank you so much.